Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of, I'm not even going to say it, but it's the furniture, etc. of the Italian Renaissance. Obviously in German, this is 1921, a lovely, thick, huge book. You can see the size, it weighs a ton. It doesn't look very much because it's quite a thin book, but wow, the paper quality they used back in 1921 on the continent was hefty. I don't know what the weight of the paper is, it's just very heavy. So just 1921, and you've got here, obviously there, and obviously got a little bit of intro at the start. I don't actually, let's have a look at that. I hadn't even noticed that. Suddenly, just there, obviously someone put there, furniture and interior decoration, obviously furniture, etc. of Italian Renaissance. And this is the second revised edition, apparently, illustrated. Ooh, it's gone down in price. I didn't pay very much for it. This one is here from £225. What? Crazy. However, I didn't pay anywhere near that. £2. That was it, I think. £3. However, a lovely set of books. So at £3, this was a must-have because I love anything Italian Renaissance. And as soon as I saw this, wow, flicking through it, this is just full of just example after example. Lots and lots of these lovely they're woodcuts, $14.99. Sort of book you would not find nowadays. You just would not, because it's obviously all in black and white, but it's just the density just packed in. I just don't think that anyone would come to a publisher and say, I'm going to bring out a book like this now. It just wouldn't happen. This is just such an odd style that's but it's just full of just beautiful. Obviously it's in German. I can't read German, so, but I mean I can work out a general gist of it. I mean it's not exactly it's furniture. It's Italian Renaissance, the artists, various processes. The words are very similar to, of course, words that you're familiar with. So you've got here like even pictures like of keys and things. And it's just great examples of things. So if you're going to do a graphic novel of Italian Renaissance, what a brilliant source book this would be. Maybe I should be doing a graphic novel of Italian Renaissance. But look at that, just 1,500. I mean, it's just beautiful. And then you've got obviously some paintings with obviously all the furniture there shown in situ. And then you've got some of these ones. Perugia, I love Perugia. Perugia was an amazing place. Florence, of course, brilliant as well. Florence, how weird, it's but slightly different. And you've got other examples there of all the rooms. And I love when just go into these sort of places and you're sort of like in a room and you can just look at some of that amazing sort of that Renaissance furniture, early Renaissance, and the way and the rooms with all the lovely decoration. Sorry about not putting it particularly at the right angle, but wow, just glorious. Palazzo, I probably even went to some of these places. I'm certain that most of these places are still open, but it's just example, all sort of like the Garden of Love, that sort of Tuscan art that was very early Renaissance, and it's just brilliant. And again, my apologies for the angle. Let's just show you the example there, because that's just brilliant. Book would probably fall apart on me. But this is actually very well, but I mean, it's, 100 years old, and it is still really. But again, this is what I mean about the style of the book. You would never bring out a book like this where it's just literally page after page after page of these brilliant wow, just all the first. Look at that, just so ornate and absolutely unbelievable, and also very deep. It's a pity they're not in colour, but of course that would have been amazing back then, I guess. But again, here you got another one. And it's got obviously the areas where they are and the various museums and things where you can go and see these. Whether they, of course, changed, moved around, I have no idea. But obviously back in 1921, look at that. Just beautiful. Again, another. Imagine putting all your whatever, various things, items, everything, obviously a value, I'm certain, went into these absolutely beautiful, just again, just stunning. Just so ornate, and he got page after page of the like beds and things, all sort of full on wardrobes or whatever. I don't know what they were called back then. No idea. That's my completely unhistorian sort of definition. It's a wardrobe, but look at that. I mean, that's just glorious. I'm certainly probably not called that. And again, you've got more and more pages, but also quite often, so they also had you can see the artwork there. you see the plate panels that would have been in that. And sometimes when you bend down and actually look at them, you can actually study those, and just some of the work that you just probably never really see. And it actually shows scenes that quite often, because a lot of the stuff back then was quite often religious. And when you look at it, it wasn't always religious. It was literally like Garden of Love. It was sort of scenes of a sort of a landscape or something, or maybe something happening in a town or something, or sort of some unusual scene that meant something, obviously, to the people. Not something maybe like a Madonna or something, which quite often, of course, generally the main paintings would have been. But I mean, look at that. I mean, imagine having that. Just look at that for furniture. You would not find that in your local furniture shop nowadays, would you? I mean, that is just. But of course, it was for the super rich. This was. But I wonder if the super rich now would they have something like that? No one would turn around and say, well, you know what? I want a beautifully sculpture. It's literally a sculpture. It's just beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, it's so ornate. And you got some tables there as well. And it's just page on page. And you can find these books quite often in sort of like the libraries, Victoria and Albert Library, Art Library. Again, another one there. And some of these things, obviously, lectern there, where you can obviously see there where people would have put books or whatever, manuscripts and things. You would have had those on there. Just again, infinitely ornate. And obviously all the frames as well. I mean, look at that frame. Obviously a famous painting there, but just in the frame there. And sometimes, of course, some of these things might have been destroyed. Obviously, during the war, all these sort of things, a lot of things were, wiped out. Not all, but I guess some of these things probably don't. And some of these frames, of course, you've got some of these things may have been replaced. Maybe people decide, you know what, we want a more clean. And I love it when you see, like this, you look at that, just frame. I love when you go and see an exhibition where you can see the actual original, probably close to original. I have no idea if they're original. You see the frames and they're so ornate with like very, very odd. Nowadays you see a more sort of basic plain frame and things, and it's not so great. But you look at these and they really, really look at that for like a door. And that's a door. I mean, what a serious door. You know when you go into that. I assume it's a door anyway. It could be. Don't ask me what the German says there. It's by Torelli as well. All these have got sort of description of who they're by, of course, and in some cases. Then you've got here Turin, Muso, Civico, and more just arches and fireplaces and things. I mean, this is a book that's just you wouldn't get. You wouldn't find this sort of book nowadays. And I just love when I pick up these sort of books and you think, oh, look, you've got all the various pattern designs there. Wow. And this is just beautiful. Absolute glorious book. Like I say, pity it's not in colour, but that's the way that they obviously did. And when you find these sort of books, I just love them. Art books, this Renaissance period, even if it isn't German, which is not a language I am at all familiar with. So, but I can work out, like I said, the words there. So as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, Italian Renaissance. It's not exactly difficult to read that bit. So an absolutely lovely book to look at. And a joy, and also a great addition to my art collection of books that I will definitely look through this multiple times over the years, I'm quite certain. So I will say totally recommended. Obviously, not probably your average one you're going to pick up in the local shop or probably even in a charity shop, but you like book fairs, all those sort of places. Generally, you can find these sort of things, and they probably even turn up on eBay, maybe. Who knows?